Welcome to another edition of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and please join me and my guests on this next interview. Now, the Czech politics is at a tipping point, with Andrej Babiš's ANO party leading coalition talks with the far-right SPD and Motoristas, and a volatile nomination for a foreign minister under fire for extremist posts. Prague is bracing for institutional friction. Add to that a president determined to defend NATO, EU, and Ukraine commitments, and you have the makings of a hostile cohabitation. Joining us today on TVP World is Jiří Pehe, former advisor to President Havel and seasoned analyst of Czech governments and foreign policy. Hello, sir, and welcome to TVP World.
Good evening.
So first of all, what does election results say about the direction of Czech politics and public mood heading into 2026?
Well, the election results were obviously bad news for the current government, and the majority of people voted for parties that promised some change. But unfortunately, as we can see now, at least two of those parties have really problems with talking about political stability or in some ways also respecting democratic values, and it will be very difficult to create any stable government out of this.
Right, so how credible is the threat of a political deadlock if Andrej Babiš returns to power with the far-right coalition?
Well, we have to distinguish between two levels of all of this. The first one is that right now Andrej Babiš basically is negotiating with these parties because he needs them to vote with him in the parliament, and that will be probably the first session of the parliament, to vote against him being extradited because of his criminal prosecution. We have two leaders in this current, not yet coalition, but three parties that would like to form a coalition who are both prosecuted for criminal offenses, and the parliament can say no, we want to extradite them. And so Andrej Babiš right now, I think, is very generous in offering positions to those two small parties because he needs them to cooperate. What will happen after that is a question. It is quite possible that Babiš will start playing hardball, that he will be much tougher. But right now he really does not have much leeway. He cannot make too many concessions. He cannot really make tough decisions, and I think that we will see some really difficult times ahead, at least until the parliament is in place and the vote on possibly extraditing Babiš and Mr. Okamura for criminal prosecution will be held.
And also, it's no secret that the president and the prime minister don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. Do you think that the president's refusal to appoint certain ministers can trigger a sort of constitutional standoff?
Well, yes, the Czech constitution is quite clear. It says that the prime minister nominates, the president approves. It doesn't give the president too much space for refusing certain ministers, but of course it also does not give any time limits. So just like the previous president, Miloš Zeman, this current president, Petr Pavel, could simply use the fact that there are no time limits and drag things on until those parties, or specifically Mr. Babiš, who will be probably the prime minister, change their mind about certain ministers. So we are probably in for a very complicated chess game, and the president will play a role in it. The president has already indicated that he really does not want to or he doesn't like the possibility that Mr. Turek from the Motorist Party would become the Minister of Foreign Affairs because of his various posts on social media, which are interpreted as racist, xenophobic, and so on. And so we have a controversy even before the government was formed.
Right. Actually, speaking of Mr. Turek, he is quite a controversial figure, especially given his social media post that is, well, now under fire. how likely is it that this controversial nomination will be withdrawn under public or institutional pressure?
Well, I think at this point, I think it's almost certain that Mr. Turek will not be foreign minister. Mr. Turek and the chairman of his party, the motorists, met with Mr. Babiš today, and they were discussing all of this behind a closed door. In a press conference afterwards, they didn't say that they reached any consensus, but it seemed that now they are talking about the motorists having 4 ministries, but Mr. Turek's name as a possible foreign minister was not really mentioned. He and the leader of his party, Mr. Matsinka, talked about the fact that he would like to explain those social posts, that he would like to talk to the president, that he has done nothing wrong, and so on. But I think that what has been published is sort of devastating for Mr. Turek, and I can't imagine that this president would appoint him as the foreign minister.
And is there a possibility that the alliance between the motorists and Babiš's ANO party eventually collapses?
That's very likely, because at this point, of course, Mr. Babiš simply has to work with these 2 parties, one of which is an extremist or extreme right party. The other one is national populist party, and they will really find it very difficult to work together for several reasons. First, at least 2 of those parties, that is Mr. Babiš's party or movement, ANO, and Mr. Okamura's Direct Democracy and Freedom Party, are not real parties. They are just formations that were created by these 2 leaders, and they have no internal democracy. And it's quite clear that if they get into one government, we probably will see immediately a lot of tension between these 2 very strong leaders. And then also Mr. Babiš right now is in a very in position that he's not used to. That is, he's being extorted by these small parties, which realize that without them he cannot create a government, because he does not have any other coalition partner. So unless he's salvaged by one of the current government parties, he will simply have to work with these 2 parties, but it will be extremely unstable, because for the reasons I have mentioned, and also because they have some real programmatic differences.
And I think another thing that the foreign audiences would be worried about is the future of the Czech ammunition aid to Ukraine. Do you think that is genuinely at risk right now?
Well, Mr. Babiš has said many times that he would like to abandon this initiative. He said it many times during the electoral campaign. But after the elections, it seems that the ANO movement, that is his movement, has started sort of modifying its views slightly. And we now hear that maybe this ammunition initiative could be kept alive, but it would have to be made more transparent. It would have to be restructured. And that could have been expected, because, quite frankly, this is something that even the government of Mr. Babiš could benefit from, because it gives the Czech Republic a good name, and plus also it brings some money to the Czech Republic, because the Czech Republic collects money from countries around the world and pays with this money for ammunition for Ukraine, and of course it is something that also benefits Czech arm producers and so on.
All right, thank you so much for your input and insight. Really appreciate it, and thanks for being with us on TVP World.
Thank you.
Cheers. And thank you for tuning into this edition of World Talks. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.